Hello, everybody, and welcome to another edition of Full Course Yellow. If you're coming here straight from Channel 31's In Pit Lane program, it's good to have you here on this, a day of great solemnity and introspection, as we do indeed pay our tribute to Her late gracious Majesty. Why we had the day off, apparently. So I hope you went about your day with suitable stoicism and a great sense of solemnity and whatever it is that we were supposed to be doing today. I went down the shops. So I didn't notice anybody being particularly solemn. Everybody seemed to be having a great time. The weather was wonderful. Probably won't last like that because there'll be some motorsport somewhere on the weekend. But anyway, joining us once again. Look, everybody, it's the incredible shock. I think we're all still feeling the shock of the Queen's passing. I mean, it was just so totally unexpected. I mean, at the age of only 96, she went off very quickly. But joining us once again, so we're missing a few people tonight, but we've got Pete Johnson joining us as per usual, and also Craig Doc Latigo is with us as well. Good evening, gentlemen. I take it that you had a very respectful and quiet day of remembrance.
Good day, good chap.
Yep, whatever that was. Anyway, welcome to.
We did a minute silence in the workplace. Yeah, we did it at 11 o'clock. So.
Oh, you did you? Was that was? I'm just wondering whether I was at the shops at 11. I certainly didn't notice anything anywhere that I was, but anyway, let's see the people. Obviously, Chris Ritchie not with us this week. Dave Stillwell not with us so far this week. Richard Outram. We haven't had Stuart for a while. Stuart's busy at the moment, so. Yes, so good evening, and for the people joining us again, Box is joining us, just changed over from Channel 31. Yes, so thank you if you watched us on Channel 31. If you missed the show, this week, particularly the music, and if you want a bonus track from the Brown Peters Band, as well as some extra chat between ourselves and Johnny Polito, then you can see that on the In Pit Lane YouTube channel when you watch the program on demand. We've always got some bonuses there. I think you get about an extra, pretty much an extra, 7 or 8 minutes or so of content on every program. So,
Did you watch that. I hope.
I might have, yes, I might have bleeped. There might have been a little bit of censorship happening in a couple of areas.
There's some expletives that slipped out this week for some.
There may well have been for good reasons. But it was a great show. I think that I was really very proud of everybody. Once again, a very inexperienced crew, and everybody just, and Mike, our first-time director. Mike's been, he's actually been our director for one reason or another. He's missed the first couple of shows, and so this was his first show. So everything I think went pretty well.
First couple of 10 years it's been.
So so anyway, that was a good thing. Good day to Jeff. Yes, fellow mammals, good evening to you, to Jeff McWilliam, and also to Dave. Yes, finally dried out from Sandown. I was, unfortunately, as I said, Dave not with us. Dave Stillwell was certainly out there. We were, of course, down in beautiful sunny Well, it wasn't beautiful. It was beautiful and sunny in the morning. You woke up in the morning, opened up the fabulous view that I had from our hotel rooms at the Rest Point Casino, looking out over the Derwent, and it was absolutely beautiful, and the sky was blue, and went for a walk around the block, and it was magic. And pretty much by the time we'd driven up to Baskerville, the clouds started rolling in. By about 11 o'clock, it was pretty cloudy, but mostly dry. Certainly very wet underfoot, very wet, but we were much better off than people were at Sandown. It was I was getting messages all day saying, "My God, it's terrible here. This mightn't go ahead," and in the end, a lot of it didn't. So there we've got Mad Cow Mark. Good day to Mark. How are you? Thank you for joining us once again. Paul Vandenacker is with us again, and he was at up at Winton, I believe, for the trucks, and at least the trucks. I mean, trucks in the wet would be interesting, but the VMRS. It was terrible weather at Sandown, and a big crash with the with the production cars. A very lucky escape. Well, not lucky escape, but I mean it was a major crash that launched the Commodore into the
God,
air and sort of hit the Penrite Bridge
bridge.
coming onto coming out of Zandong Road corner, hit it pretty high up. So sort of the Armco flattened down and the thing just took off. So it was
Like a ramp.
a pretty spectacular crash. But thankfully, driver not hurt. No flaggies or anybody else in the area hurt. So that's the main thing. Okay, so I'm going to make it a quick show. Quick show tonight. Going into the morning. Going into what's happening around the traps. We'll have a look at. Let's start with actually this week with MotoGP, and one of the things that has really upset a lot of people is, speaking of the weather and the appalling conditions. It's been announced that there'll be no camping at Phillip Island for this year's Grand Prix, and there's a lot of very, very angry people about that. I don't know what they expect them to do, because no doubt the conditions would be dreadful down there. But Doc, I mean, you go down there a lot. I mean, the camping's a pretty big deal down there, and it's also very hard to find alternative accommodation down in the place. So how big a hit could this be on the crowd?
Look,
Yep.
I haven't delved depth in the
Yeah, I think we've got.
Oh, that's right. A bit.
No, unfortunately, Doc, as you can hear, Doc is dropping out really badly. So
Oh, damn. All right, I'll read.
Go in there, Pete.
My knowledge of such things is finite, but I don't understand how they can decide this far out from the Grand Prix that camping will be off limits. Surely, like we've had dry weather today, surely, how can they know what conditions will be like?
It's interesting because I've been bogged down in that part of the world, very often over the years, and you'd think that being sort of, that it's, like a seaside area, that there should be, really good drainage on the soil. It should be very sandy soil and all that, and it should, drain away really well, but it doesn't. It seems to hold the water. Pretty well there. I think that. I think it's going to be a problem for them. I mean, as we were saying, we'll see if Doc gets back into it, but see what his connection is like now. But I think it's going to be it's going to take quite a hit for the Grand Prix, because unless they find other places to camp down there, there's going to be a lot of people who are just going to say, no, look, they're going to be like, basically like me, and say, look, I'll go down for one day, I'll come back, but they're not going to go back and forwards every day. I mean, they go down there, and it's like the Bathurst 12 hour or the 1,000 or like the camping is part of the weekend. It's everybody comes together, everybody's parking. It's so it's a real sort of party atmosphere down there. And if they're gonna not allow the camping, unless they can find other suitable areas where people can camp down there, and they're pretty limited.
You're right,
there
absolutely,
used to be places,
Brett. You're right, totally, Brett. I mean, the crowd has peaked in the past when we've got back in the Stoner and Vermeulen days, and also Ant West days. It peaked. I think 1 year we might have got close to about 70,000 on the main day on the Sunday. It was averaging around 55,000 for a lot of years there for the MotoGP. But yeah, it will take a significant hit. And as you also said, with it being an island, because Phillip Island's not just a name, it has limited, obviously, bed and breakfasts or caravan parks and places to stay, and obviously Airbnb and stays place with a Z I'm talking about. So it really is struggle. So it gives light to the one-day situation. What will we probably become more annoying for everyone in general is if we do get some beautiful weather. We've put up with some inclement stuff for a long time now. If we get some nice 25-degree days for 2 straight Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, people are going, down here, this is ridiculous. So
I think as Paul is saying, though, in terms of going off, it'll be boggy for months, and down that end of the track in particular. I mean, as I said, I've been bogged down there. I've been bogged on the inside of Southern Loop a couple of times now. It really does get very flooded down there. The problem is that they do have, everybody likes to camp down there. I couldn't think of anywhere worse to camp. It's incredibly, there's no shelter there. It's exposed to the elements completely. If you're on the side of that hill and the wind's coming straight off of Bass Strait, oh, by Jesus, it'll be cold and windy and horrible, but people do seem to love it there, but I certainly, it wouldn't be my idea. I mean, I don't mind too much, camping at Mount Panorama, and I suppose down in the paddock. I don't know what it's like up the top of the mountain. It's possibly pretty miserable up there at times, but either way, people really love it.
Well, with Jack and Remy there, you're going to probably get a crowd there this year more than ever. It said last chance. I mean, they are racing at least Jack the following year, but it's an opportunity that's going to be missed out on. What I do suggest, though, if anyone rides down, I might take the bike this year. Obviously, as you said, Brett, depends on the weather. At least take a can of drink with you, because if it is soft, like you're saying, no matter where you park your motorbike, those little stands, if that sinks into the ground, your bike's over and the bike next to you is over, and then so forth and so forth. So it does create the domino effect. At least if you've got a Coke can, you just drink it, crush it up, and then put it under the stand. It creates some actually force stopping the bike from falling over. So us experienced long-term ones have a little piece of plywood or a board or something a little bit more stable to create thing. But yeah, I mean, it's going to knock a few around. I reckon you could lose 10, 20,000, at least, probably about 10,000 plus campers.
And here's a familiar name, Josephine Farrer. Josie, Josie, how are you? Good to see you.
Sorry, Paul.
People would remember Josie as a newsreader on the program, part of the In-Pit Lane family for a long time, from several years back. So good to catch up with you, Josie.
And sorry, Paul, for laughing, but yeah, I haven't been off a beaten track ever, because wheelchairs off beaten tracks don't mix.
No, well, I'm sure we could come up with some piece, like an off-road wheelchair or something. Thanks to Russell Clark, props to the band tonight. Cool group. Yeah, very cool group. Brown Peter's band were just spectacularly good. And as I said, congratulations to the In-Pit Lane crew, to the audio, to the camera people, to lighting. Everybody just did a great job.
Have to make Michael an inaugural member of the. He just seems to do the house band backing guitar for everybody at the moment. So we'll just invite. I think he's done more episodes of what we have, you and I put together, Brett. But anyway, so we could get Michael in every week, and he could just be our house band like they do on some of the Saturday Night Live variety shows.
It went through my mind on Tuesday night as we were sitting there. It's like, we might as well they're so good if we could just have them in every week. I mean, we've been very lucky over the years. We have had some fantastic. Fantastic.
And I'm going to give a shameless plug as well too here, as long as my connection doesn't drop out, because he's a great supporter of fostering wonderful music. So thanks for bringing it up, Russell. But Michael, who was playing bass guitar this week, he has played lead for Alicia a couple of weeks ago, and Brianna when she was on last year. Michael owns Evolution Music out at Cranbourne. I'm not going to give you any more details. Look up Evolution Music, and if you ever want anything to do with that, look him up, and he'll look after you and just mention us guys on Pit Lane. He'll make sure you're in good stead.
Yeah, very, very good. And also the one of the guys who came in with Alicia as well, played the steel guitar on the night. The Dobro has also been in touch and said, I'm happy to come in any time that you don't have a band. If I can find out, I'm happy to come in and do something as well. So we've got a good little crew of music as well.
Queue up.
There we are.
Yep, Josh Hook, Schroeder, and Voigt as part of the garage team at Talon Ben. Yeah, they're the Thriller Miller team. They've been they're on the bill now for Thriller Miller. So Jack will be getting his own new Ducati. they asked, will he be riding the same one as he rode last year, the Cat sponsored Ducati? Unfortunately, no. That was sold immediately after straight after that weekend. It's gone on to some hands and probably kept in memorabilia style way. So Jack will be getting a new bike this year, and he's got a few guys that are going to give him a leg up as well, though, too. Hopefully, not a leg over on the track.
That's true. Roy is saying here, Pete, that he can build you a 4-wheel drive version as well. He's got an old e-bike battery, and motors in the shed. So if you're game, Pete, I mean, we'll get you. We'll be able to get you down to Phillip Island perhaps at some stage. And I think this is something
around the city. They're having a crackdown at the moment, so give it a roll around the city, Pete.
Yeah, that's it. But it is difficult. I mean, in terms of, I mean, obviously there's places like Sandown and the Grand Prix and places like that where it's much easier. Phillip Island would be very difficult. I mean, if you go, obviously you'll want to go in the pits. Unless you can get someone, unless you're allowed to be driven through the tunnel, you're not going to be able to get into the pit area because the only way to get there is over the bridge, which rules that out. Yep. Yeah, bit of a nuisance if you just want to turn up and have a look at some racing.
Yeah.
Just to finish off the touch on the MotoGP stuff, though, we probably should mention about the race that was on the weekend at Aragon, and Jack put in a gutsy fifth, and a well done to Mr. Bastianini, who absolutely stoked when he went through the finish line and won that. It's on the bottom of the ticket there. Brett mentioned it on the show earlier tonight on 9:30 on Channel 31 when the in-pit lane. And also, I was watching some of the highlights again late this afternoon after work, and he was absolutely over the moon about his win. And good. He fought it out all the way to the end and only got him with a couple of corners to go. So, kudos to Mr. Bastianini, just over Bagnaia in a gutsy.
Closest finish ever, I believe, and that's saying something.
Yeah. So, really good. And Marc Marquez, people didn't actually ear bash him or anything like that, but he caused a bit of a racing incident in the first couple of corners after on the first thing, and wiped a couple of bikes out, but Fabio Quartararo was probably on the worst end of the stick, and of course Marc Marquez, even though he only close to high side, it just tank slapped it a little bit. He limped into the pits and called it a night as well, though, too. So he's the massive talent that Marc Marquez has probably just got in the way of a little bit of a few of them and overstepped his mark for the first lap on a comeback. Hopefully see them better this weekend because they're doing 4 races in 5 weeks. So keep an eye out for the MotoGP.
Yeah, it's crazy. They've gone from last week in Aragon down straight over to Japan. From Japan. So where do they go for the third week? Is it to
I looked at it
Malaysia or?
Yeah, I'll look it up. Yeah, we'll get to that.
I think and then of course another week after that they come on down here for Phillip Island. So. It's there. Speaking of calendars, the Formula One calendar has been announced for next year as well, and of course with a few extra races, such as now the inaugural Las Vegas Grand Prix. This is sort of good news for us. They're actually going to start the race at 10 o'clock at night, local time, which will. Saturday. On the Saturday, which of course will pop nicely into Australia at about 3 o'clock Sunday afternoon. So, that'll be perfect viewing time. Perfect viewing time for us.
Japan, which we've then off to Thailand, then the Australia, and then Malaysia. So, like you suggested, they do that little circle around here in the southern hemisphere in the Asian circuit. So. But yeah, did you see Daniel Ricciardo back over in Perth having a mini home holiday today?
No, didn't know he was back. Didn't know he was back home. I mean, that's
he was
unusual.
Dancing around on a string around Optus Stadium. With the brace around him and the high wire and up around the roof of Optus Stadium in Perth today. He was mucking around and made a few comments about his positioning on where he's going to be next year, and he cautiously said that he would like to be in an F1 seat next year if possible. So almost unquote quote that.
Yeah, and as we saw today, Yuki Tsunoda has been re-signed with AlphaTauri, so he's back in action again. So Pierre Gasly probably won't be going to Alpine now because Red Bull don't want to let him go. They said they weren't prepared to let him go if Colton Herta couldn't get in and replace him at AlphaTauri. Now that looks like that's definitely off the list now. So Colton Herta will not be coming, nor for that matter will Hurt and Coulter. Neither of them will be coming now. So
waiting for it.
so you won't see either of them on the grid next year, which means that there might still be a spot open at Alpine, which Daniel could possibly slot into. But from what we've heard, and as we've discussed over the last couple of weeks, it would seem that the Renault management, senior Renault management, aren't particularly keen on that. It's now looking increased.
They have said that. I was reading today that they have said that they'll now let Otmar do the contracts, and Otmar seems more favourable with Daniel than senior management. But I imagine that senior management will still be telling Otmar what to do.
Yeah, it seems to be the way that things run there, although they seem to be very, very happy with Otmar. So they said that they felt that was a really good, they made a really good decision in getting him across, and that he'd smoothed out a lot of problems that they did have there. Also interesting, Christian Horner now having buyer's regrets, or in this case non-buyer's regret, by saying we had an opportunity to get Oscar Piastri and put him through the Red Bull driver program, and we sort of knocked him back, and we wish we hadn't now, because it was obviously he had talent, but for one reason or another we sort of didn't jump in time, and he ended up going to Alpine, and in the end we sort of at Red Bull we lost him. I imagine if Red Bull really, really, really wanted him, that at some stage they'll be able to get him.
Yes, yeah.
But what's the situation? I mean, there's rumours flying around now, increasing rumours flying around that that there might be actually an opening at Red Bull. That Red Bull are not particularly. Some people at Red Bull, and we know how ruthless they are, particularly Helmut Marko, that some at Red Bull aren't particularly happy with the performances of Mr. Perez at the moment.
I haven't heard any rumours of that effect, but I don't see Daniel going back to Red Bull.
Oh no, yeah, Daniel won't be going back there, that's for sure.
Yeah. But I haven't heard anything.
It was getting a bit of traction on some of the podcasts and some of the, particularly some of the European, not the English speaking media, but particularly in Germany and Austria, and also in South America as well, saying that there are some within Red Bull that are saying that Sergio's just too hot and cold. I mean, he's fantastic, but what they need is a really good backup. They need a really good number two to Max, and that sometimes he's just not consistent enough. He's not taking enough points away from both Ferrari and Mercedes in terms of the manufacturers' championship to keep them happy.
And I've noticed at times when he is in a position to do that, he arcs up. He gets, really, do I have to do this? So there are other times where he is compliant, but there are other times where he says, no, I don't really want to do this, but I'll do it anyway.
Yeah, it's a shame. He is very hot and cold. When he's good, he is very, very good, and particularly in things like we've seen how good he can be with sort of keeping his tyres and running a good, sensible race. But at sometimes he just, he makes the odd mistake here and there that just puts him back in the pack and leaves Max a bit more vulnerable than obviously the team would the team would like, and especially now that Mercedes is slowly but surely, at least in the last couple of races, coming back to the top again, and making it a challenge alongside of Ferrari to Red Bull. It might be interesting to they might be sort of having a look at Sergio and going, is he exactly what we want? I mean, they've got so many talented young drivers in their academy.
They're cool, yeah.
The pool. I mean, that they've got going through to people. They've got Lawson. There's a couple of New Zealanders. I mean, they've got Nick Cassidy as well. I mean, Nick Cassidy has done absolutely everything right outside of. You talk about people coming out through non-traditional routes into Formula One with Colton Herta. Well, Nick Cassidy would be another one. He's come through Super GT. He's come through through Formula Nippon. Come through the DTM and the World Endurance Championship and Formula E and all the rest of it. Been very, very, very successful in all of them. And it'd be interesting if they look at him at some stage and want to perhaps give him a go here and there, because I've heard a few people say, people who know say that they think that he would be very well suited to that role at a team like Red Bull.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, well, we got also on the local scene just quickly the Will Brown's car that was badly destroyed in the crash at Pukekohe is back. It's just down the road from me here in South Dandenong, and the chassis has been repaired and they're putting it all back together again. So that car will run at Bathurst, which means, of course, the wildcard entry, which was under a little bit of threat for Greg Murphy and I've lost his name now. Who are we talking about? New Zealand ex Aston Martin driver. This has got completely gone. Richie Stanaway. Thank you, Richie Stanaway. Yeah. So there. Flash also pointed out. I had that up for a while now. Yes, Flash Motorsport. How are you? WRC in New Zealand.
And Shane Van Gisbergen's going to be in that.
Yes,
WRC,
and I think in the WRC, I think he's in the WRC too. He's not in the main category, but I think he's in the sort of the secondary category, the WRC too. And he's had success over there in local rallies. So very good driver. Interesting to see how he goes in that. And we know he's a very talented individual. We've also got from Flash Motorsport, new Victorian Rally champion. Congratulations to Adrian Stratford in his Subaru Impreza, winning the championship with one round of the championship to go. So congratulations to Adrian and his co-driver for that victory in the championship. Speaking of championships, as we saw on tonight's edition of In Pit Lane, coming up this weekend. Down at Phillip Island is the Victorian State Championships grand final in some categories. As we heard earlier tonight, the sports sedans will be running their final championship round at Island Magic. So it's their penultimate series champion. A lot of the other categories very tight in Formula Ford. Still very tight in improved production. Battle of the big Commodore versus Monaro there. The GM cars dominating that as well. And also, obviously, another big field of Excels and all the rest of it. So that'll be happening this weekend. So get down and have a look at that.
Spectators accepted? Right.
Spectators indeed will be protected. Will be accepted. They'll be very happy to see spectators down there.
Is it free entry?
No, it is a cost. It is definitely a cost. I think it's about 35 on the Sunday. It might be 30 on the Sunday. It could be 40 for the weekend or something. But either way, it is cost. I think tomorrow, if you're not doing anything tomorrow, I think if you go down tomorrow, you might be able to wander in and have a look at things like that if you feel like a drive down, because I think the weather will be still pretty good tomorrow. But unfortunately the weather is coming back for the weekend. It's going to be a bit miserable as
tomorrow
well.
In showers, but yeah, it's still worth considering a mosey on down. Yeah.
Yep. So he's competing in WRC2, and so is Neil Bates as well. So couple. Well, I was going to say a couple of Aussies, but he's an honorary Aussie, Shane. He wouldn't like me saying that. That's for sure.
No, he got very thingy with because he went to New Zealand. He went over to New Zealand at the end of last year or the year before, and then he came back, and someone on Fox Sports asked him, "Is it good to be home?" And he said, "First of all, home's not Australia; it's New Zealand."
Oh, great start to an interview. Oh, great.
Yes, that is a classic. That's definitely a
foot in mouth disease. Oh boy.
But these things happen when yes. But yeah, Shane, a very very proud New Zealander as well, and very much loves going back home and really enjoys getting his feet wet and his hands dirty behind the wheel of a rally car over there, or a speedway car, or just about anything at all. I mean, the man will race everything, and he'll probably win in it as well. So
talking about racing again, just it is MotoGP related, but it's just bike. It's just there's a little doco that's just came out this week. Passed on to Casey Stoner and Chris Vermeulen have done a little going back, like little mini doco.
Yeah, you're breaking up again. Yeah, so. Yeah, that's online as well. Speaking of docos as well, you've reminded me of something. I don't know if you've got a smart TV, if you've got a Chromecast or an Apple TV or something with it, you can get apps on it. There's a service called Tubi TV. You can get the app. Now, Tubi TV has all sorts of things on it. It's got some classic movies, some classic old television shows. They've also got a number of really, really interesting motorsport documentaries, including one, The Road to Le Mans, which is narrated by Sir Patrick Stewart, from Star Trek and the X-Men and all the rest of it. So that's on there as well. They've got fantastic stuff. It's a really good service, absolutely free. So if you've got a smart TV, check out what's on there. They've got all sorts of weird and wonderful things, lots of wrestling docos and sci-fi stuff and all sorts of things. So it's Tubi TV, but as I said, they do have a number of motorsport related and car and bike related documentaries and programs on Tubi TV. And speaking of apps, if you haven't done so yet, the CTV Plus app, Channel 31's own app, they've had some. It's been too successful. Apparently, it sort of crashed about a week or so ago because too many people were using it. Now, unfortunately, because of cost reasons and all the rest, you can watch In Pit Lane live on when it goes to air on Channel 31, but they're not at the moment putting our programs up. They're not archiving the shows on the service at the moment because of because it's a news show. They just decided that they really need to save the space because it costs a lot of money to sort of set up. So, but if you want to watch any of the programs are of course all archived on the In Pit Lane YouTube channel. Okay, I think that's just about all we've got time for. Mike Caruso is going to run the GT3 Audi up at the Bathurst International to get ready for the Bathurst 12 Hour next year. Entries open today for the Bathurst 6 Hour. 20 cars already. Yeah. So there you go. 20 cars. That's pretty impressive.
It will be capped at 70 as usual. Finishing what you said before, don't sign up to Optus at the moment though either as well.
Yeah. If you are on Optus with anything, you might want to go into your password managers and all that and change all your passwords because
yourself. But no, yeah, good feel for the 6 hour on the 20 card. But it's only capped at 70, so you can imagine that's going to be fulfilled subscription.
Are there 70 grid spots? I don't think there are.
Yeah, it's capped at 70.
Yeah, 70, isn't it? Jeez. Yeah,
I don't think there are 70 grid spots on the track.
I checked it today. It's capped at 70.
Yeah, they certainly extended. I mean, I have seen when I remember sort of around 56 cars running at one stage. But anyway,
according to the press, it was capped at 70 when I read it.
Because it used to be, the 1,000 used to be about 56 cars.
Yeah. Either way, it's still it's a great turnout. I mean, we had Troy Williams on the show last week talking about the revival of production cars, and they had a great field for Sandown. And once again, I mean, they copped the brunt of the weather as well, and they didn't get, as far as I know, they didn't get any television either. I'm not sure what they got, but they certainly don't have any of they certainly didn't appear in any of the video news packages that we got from the Australian Races group that Grant Rowley sent through to us. So there was no mention of them there, but all the other categories on the day, apart from the Porsches, there was nothing for the Porsches either. So they weren't a part of that package either. But anyway, that's all we got time for. Just quickly, Doc.
The Indians love our cricket, and we love the Indians, and we love the cricket too. They're
Yep, and we do love the cricket, and Doc's disappeared again. So, yes, so they're now quickly, if Doc does happen to come out, he's frozen completely, but he would know this because we must say, maybe 70 entries, only 56 starters, that would make safe as well. Rolling start, yes, I believe it is a rolling start for the 6 hours. Pretty sure it is. Not from memory, I think they do have a rolling start, but anyway. Yes. So we'll find out. But also coming up this weekend on Saturday, there is another grand final, not just the one we have down at Phillip Island, but there's one at a place called the MCG, which is the Muralbark Croquet Club or something. But anyway, they're out wherever they're out there, and the Geelong Geese are up against the Sydney Duck Hunters or something. So, Doc, you understand all this stuff. Like, tell us all about it. Who wins and by how much?
Look, everyone's going the dark horse today. Everyone's backing Sydney because they said that their forward line's too potent. When you've got Isaac Heaney and obviously the big buddy, Mr. Franklin. But then another one. I mean, I did watch out another compatriot show on Channel 31 early, the Marngrook footy show that was on proceeding before us tonight, and it was pretty split. The other opinion is, and someone made a good point, and I don't think it was Warwick Kappa, because I don't think he makes some good points when he plays, but not when he talks. So Warwick, I think someone else said that the Geelong don't have any superstars. They just get out there and they do the team thing and play. So look, I'm just hoping. Look, probably any avid fan, full stop, just wants a good game. A good game's a close game, because I think by half time, if someone's out by 30, 40 something points, it usually gets a bit boring, and everyone's out the front of their driveway having a kick to kick and ripping half their kneecaps off. So hopefully that doesn't happen when you do that. But look, like I said on the show on Tuesday night when we were taping it, I'd like Bloods to win. Go South Melbourne. What about you guys?
Pete?
My team was the team that got beaten by 1 point by Sydney.
Which I picked, incidentally. I do point out, Jason will tell you he was there at the time when I did say Collingwood will lose this by 1 point.
And I didn't want to play Geelong because I thought Geelong would kill us. So I think Geelong will kill Sydney.
Ooh.
Yeah, I'm a bit the same. I find that that idea of there are no stars at Geelong a bit rare. I mean, I know there's a guy called Dangerfield. There's some guy called Hawkins. There's a few running around.
Selwood.
Running around the place. Selwood, yeah. I mean, you could go through and name a lot of names, and they would. It could well. I'm hoping that because there's a very strong attack, that both of them have a very strong attack. I mean, the Geelong have got Hawkins and Cameron, and as you mentioned, Buddy and Feeney at the Swans. It could be. Hopefully, it'll be a bit of a shootout, and we'll get sort of a really high scoring game. But I think that Geelong are going to actually. I think Geelong are actually going to win, and I don't think it'll even be all that close. I'm going to Geelong by 24.
Oh, there you go. There's a long tip from you. Sydney are very good at choking teams, though, too. So you're saying if it's high scoring, I think that's exactly Sydney's opposite plan. They'll be trying to restrict that, but it'll be good. It's I hope for a good show anyway. So if you're going to go down, if you want to enjoy your football on Saturday, hang around the home, or if you're very lucky to have a $500,000 to get a ticket. However, yeah, as you suggested, Brett, maybe mosey down to Phillip Island and check out the close action in your face down there at Phillip Island tomorrow at the track.
It brings back memories because they do run this particular round usually on grand final weekend every year, unfortunately. And when we used to cover go down and cover the thing, we saw a lot of grand finals down at the Ramada Resort, including the tie against St Kilda. And the people who were there at the time will remember that well of me sort of. And it was actually filmed. Someone was filming me the whole time in the last sort of 5 minutes of the Collingwood St Kilda grand final. It eventually went to a draw. So
we better congratulate our sponsor there to Roy, because he's an Essendon supporter. Look, I've got a couple of mates of Essendon supporters, and without going into the situation, you might dodge it.
Yeah, young Jason, who I was down at Baskerville with, was saying all the weekend, have pity on me. I'm an Essendon supporter, but the most important thing is a better coach. And yeah, we spoke about that at length down there too, in terms of whether they go back to Herd or what they do. But anyway, there's plenty of experts out there talking about the footy. Whatever you do, enjoy it. I know my tradition will probably continue. It's the one weekend of the year that I have Kentucky Fried Chicken. It was something that I did as a kid with my dad. Dad would go out and buy me a bottle of champagne and a bucket of chicken from Kentucky Fried, and that was the big deal.
You weren't just 12 years of age though on the bottle of champagne as well though too, were you?
I might have been. I may have been.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, like hell. Yeah. Anyway, as Mad Cow Mark is saying, congratulations. So there you go. Yeah, so there you go, Doc. I mean, you had you did have a victory as
controversial
such with
win.
Paddy Cripps. Yeah, I didn't see. It was funny because we were coming back from Tasmania at the time, and it was sort of happening, and we were sort of picking up little bits of it on the radio as we were making our way back. It took me longer to get back from Tullamarine back to home than it did to get from Baskerville back to Tullamarine, But anyway, look, Baskerville was fantastic, and as I said, we'll have a special on that coming up on November the 3rd. Coming up, we saw a little bit of it on the news tonight, but yeah, we'll have an extended thing coming up soon. Okay, everybody, thanks for joining us once again. Have a good, whatever you're doing, have a good day tomorrow. Have a good weekend. Have a bit of a relax. Japanese Grand Prix, MotoGP, so the timing is right. You can just sit back in the afternoon and watch it. And also coming up this weekend, the European Le Mans Series is up at Spa, so that'll be worth having a look at as well. So we'll see you next week for both In Pit Lane. If you want to watch behind the scenes, watch us record it live. Go onto the Facebook page, follow us there, and we'll stream that live. And then if you want to watch the show, the edited for the final product, you can see that Thursday night, 9:30, Channel 31, and also on the In Pit Lane YouTube channel. But until we see you next week, thanks for joining us, everybody, and bye.
Have a great long weekend.